Good morning. The fripper is first. I can't stand the wind. I get really anxious, like really stressed. It's been proper windy since Saturday night, and apparently it's not going until Wednesday. And I'm literally on the edge of my seat because it can be so destructive. And I'm watching it in real time, thinking, when's that branch coming off? When's that going to fall onto the roof? We can't afford a new roof. What? All of those things. There is more hot air outside my window blowing around in a destructive fashion than there is on the front bench of the Labour Parliament. Come on, that was quite good, wasn't it? Only it's not Parliament, it's government. Oh, devil's in the detail and the delivery. Anyway, it is Labour that we're going to be talking about this morning, obviously. I say obviously just because just like a permanent car crash. If it's not one, it's another. And I genuinely wonder whether they are wearing like funny contact lenses where they only see what they want to see, and they've got like these little things in their ears which tells them everything is brilliant and they're doing a really good job, because they're not listening to anyone. If any of us read the comments, we're like, whoa, everybody hates you, but no, they carry on. They're impervious. They're like cockroaches. But this was an article from the Big Issue, and I thought, well, here we go. Now we've got not just us going on at them, we've got the little people going on at them. So quite right too. There was an interview with the Labour Education Minister, Catherine McKinnell. She's the Minister for School Standards. And she was asked a question by a 15-year-old Riley Holden about EHCPs, Educational Healthcare Plans. Riley has cerebral palsy, and since 2022 he struggled with low mood, anxiety, anger and mental health issues. His family have tried to get him an autism diagnosis, which has been refused by local services, who cite the support he's supposed to receive at school through an EHCP. Now, the EHCP, for those of you that don't know, Educational Healthcare Plan. And effectively what that does is that's supposed to make sure that the child is supported throughout school. And sometimes, in fact quite often, local authorities deem that the state school can't do that. It can't effectively support the child. So they often end up putting them in a named school, which is invariably a private institution, because they say that the private institution can support the needs. So we found a use for private education, and that is that it does support children with EHCPs. Brilliant. So that's something that I would say we should hold dear. Apparently not if you're in the Labour government. So anyway, in this article, Riley challenges McKinnell on the shortcomings of his own EHCP and the rumours that they are going to be taken away as part of Labour's Send Education. Riley says, I have an EHCP and there's a rumour going around that it will be taken away. Will it be taken away? He asks. I mean, I think that's quite a direct question. I like that. Well done, Riley. I think you've done really well there, because you've basically said, is this going to get taken away? And answer the question. Direct, no waffle. What do you think she says? To be honest, I don't want to get ahead of what we might do to exactly fix the system, the minister responds. I guess what you've said, though, is that you don't always get the support that you hope to get and you think you need. No. What he said was, are you going to take away EHCPs? Don't say, I guess what you said. He's 15 years old. He knows exactly what he said. He said, are you going to take EHCPs away? I guess what you did, McKinnell, is you dodged the question because you don't want to answer it, because you know the answer is going to be extremely unpopular, particularly with Riley, who is sitting in front of you. So McKinnell goes on to say, we want to fix the challenge that you've outlined, which is that all children get the support that they need and that schools are being supported to provide that. We want as many children as possible to be in their local schools so they don't miss out on building friendships and having a brilliant education. Now, hang on a minute. We want all children to be in their local schools. What if all children and all parents don't want to be in their local schools? Fill that gap in, McKinnell. What if all children and all parents want to go to different schools? What if some children want to go to a school 15 miles away because it's in between the house that they live, one's with mum, one's with dad? What if some children want to go to a school 4 miles away because it's got a better standard of sport? What if some children want to go to a school 3 miles away because it's got its brothers and sisters in it? What about people just wanting choice that suits their family needs? What about people wanting to be able to make the choice for their family? What about people just being allowed to put their children in schools where they'd like them to? No. Labour wants all children to go to their local schools so that they can build friendships. So this is exclusive, is it? Building friendships. It's exclusive to local schools. Do we only build a friendship if we're in a local school? We possibly couldn't do that if we were in a school that was a long way away. No, we can only build those friendships if we're in local schools. But what if the local school, and as a primary school, has mixed year groups? What if it's years 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 all mixed in together? And what if that doesn't work for your child? What do you do then? Because it's local, but it doesn't work for your child. So where do you go? Because McKinnell says they want everyone to go to local schools. She doesn't back it up with what she says or what she wants and why that is such a good idea other than friendships. She just says Labour want all kids to go to local schools. Well, what if you've got a massive housing development being built near your local school and there aren't enough places for you to go? Oh, well, can they fudge it then? Can they say, actually, yeah, we've built this housing development. Raina, you built a load of developments. You didn't build any infrastructure. You didn't build any doctors. You didn't build any schools. You didn't build any dentists. You didn't build any supermarkets. But you did build a load of houses. Well done. Boom. So Raina, she hasn't built any schools. We haven't got any money to build any schools anyway, so I don't even know why I'm saying that. But she's built loads of houses. So what happens when those kids go into that school and there are no spaces in the local school for people like Riley to go to, even though Riley doesn't want to go to the local school because he's actually doing all right at his school. He just wants to know why EHCPs are going to get tinned. That's all Riley wants to know. He won't know anything about making friends in local schools. Riley's absolutely fine. He's got his friends, thanks very much. That's your assumption, not his. So then she goes on to say, some children absolutely need to be in a special school if they have complex needs. Well, no, not really. Not all children. No, you can have complex needs and still go to a mainstream school. I hate the word mainstream. You can have complex needs and still go to a school with lots of other kids that might not have complex needs and lots of other kids that do have complex needs, because that's the independent sector. That's right. Yes, the independent sector has set up so that it can support those children and keep them in an environment with lots of other peers. And that's what makes society rich, isn't it? That we all learn to work with each other and complement each other and accept that we are all different. We don't want to lock kids away in special schools just because state schools can't fix them and they can't mend them, because they don't want mending, they don't want fixing, they just want an education like any other child might like. They don't want to be shoehorned away into a corner. They don't want that, thanks very much. There will, of course, be some cases where special schools are needed, and in that case, when it's suitable for that child, then of course, that is the right thing to do. But are we saying that if you've got an EHCP, we're going to get rid of the EHCP and then we're going to decide whether you can go into mainstream in your local school where you can only make friends, or if you're going to go to a special school, which you probably don't need, but we just kind of need to put you in that category over there. We do not want to think about blending the whole world together. No, that would be bad. So that's the thing about special schools that really pissed me off. And then she goes, if there's the right support, you can have a brilliant education in a mainstream school. Oh, thanks so much. You can have a brilliant education if there's the right support. But the thing is, there's not the right support, is there? There is no support because we haven't got any teachers. 41,000 left last year. Bridge only wants to recruit 6,500 and she is no way near that target. She cannot get anywhere near that target because nobody wants to come and work in the state sector because they all realise that it's absolutely shit, and they all absolutely recognise that the education secretary does not have children's needs at her heart, but they do have children's needs at their heart. You see, that's why you train to be a teacher, because it's vocational. You want the best outcomes for all children, not just the 93% or 94%, whatever percent it is these days. So they don't want to go into that sector because they know that they're not looked after, they know they're not valued, they know that it is literally just reading out from a script what Labour have said. There's no flex in the curriculum, there's no flex in how they teach the children. It's one size fits all, and that size doesn't fit, does it? No. But don't worry, we can just ignore Riley a little bit more. He's only asked one really good question and we can still fluff over it. We think every child should have an excellent education and all the opportunities that come from that. That's not happening at the moment, so we want to change the system. Well, hang on a minute. How can they have an excellent education and all the opportunities that come from that if the school that they're in doesn't fit them? How can they have an excellent education if they've been shoved in a school that's 6 miles away from their brother and sister, and mum and dad are so stressed about getting them to school and they're not with any of their peers and they're not with any of their friendship groups, and that school's not got a very good Ofsted flagging thing, whatever it is, rating, that's the word I'm looking for, but the one their brothers and sisters in has got an outstanding rating. How does that go down? Because we don't prioritise siblings. You ask Ramesh Ranganathan about that. I think he's gone to the private sector. Yep, that's right. So the state sector are absolutely, rightly, getting very angry. And McKinnell is showing her absolute disdain about this by not answering the question of a 15-year-old because she doesn't want to get ahead of herself, despite the fact that Labour have already got ahead of themselves and they've already said it, but nobody is listening because they're not taking it seriously, because people are glossing over it because education doesn't matter. It doesn't affect me. I haven't got kids. Only it does affect you, because whether you have children or not, this is the cornerstone of society. And this is the fundamental bit of Labour's plan. These children won't be at school forever. They will be in society later. And then what are we dealing with? That's right. We are dealing with the ramifications of a completely fucked up education system that has damaged and harmed an entire generation of children. And that damage and harm is going to go with them through life. I tell you the one good thing about this, the one good thing about Labour's wanton destruction on education is that they are creating a generation of people who will never, ever vote Labour again.